Welcome back. Today I've decided to do another video, so it's going to be 2 videos a week, Thursdays and Sundays. Today we're going to be talking about more cold cases from New Zealand, a cold case from 1997, another case that happened in Auckland, and it's Kayo Matsuzawa. Japanese woman Kayo Matsuzawa came to New Zealand in 1997 to study English in Christchurch, to work and travel. On 11th of September 1998, she flew to Auckland City and checked into a backpackers on Fort Street before heading out to explore the city that afternoon. She never returned to the backpackers. 11 days later, her naked and decomposing body was found in a small room off the stairwell in the Centre Court building in Queen Street. Police believe 29-year-old Kayo had only been in the city for several hours before she met her killer. The last sighting of the young woman was from security camera footage outside the BNZ in Queen Street. Shortly after, she had checked into a downtown backpackers in Fort Street. Both the bank and backpackers are close to the Centre Court building where Kayo's body was found. Police think Kayo may have been targeted by a man who had approached her that afternoon. It is possible this man may have spiked her drink. Police want to hear from anyone if this sort of predatory behavior from the 1990s in Auckland sounds familiar. For the first time, police have revealed that unknown male DNA material was located under Kayo's fingernails. Although Kayo's passport was recovered from a public rubbish bin close to where her body was discovered, her clothes and jewelry have never been found. Kayo was wearing black bootleg pants, a black jacket, black shoes, and carrying a backpack. She had crescent-shaped earrings and a small, delicate gold ring with a single pink stone. Do you have any information about these items? Detectives investigating the 1998 murder of Kayo Matsuzawa have their first new lead in 20 years. TVNZ's Cold Case revealed a retest of samples taken from the body of the murdered Japanese tourist almost 20 years ago have yielded fresh clues in the hunt for the killer who dumped Matsuzawa's naked body in a stairwell cupboard off Queen Street. What happened to the bubbly 29-year-old almost defies comprehension. It's clear Inspector Mark Fergus and the Specialist Cold Case team, Detective Inspector Scott Beard and Detective Senior Sergeant Nina Pedersen, are even now deeply affected by the case too. Fergus was a detective on the original investigation, and while he's as forthright and unemotional as any good Kiwi cop, I hear something of the indignation I feel at what happened to Matsuzawa simmering beneath his words. She came to this country just for an adventure, he says, and she met her end in an awful, terrible way. No one should have to end their days like that. Shying away from the more gruesome aspects of Matsuzawa's death, Cold Case nonetheless paints a grim picture of what the scant evidence suggests happened to her: a confident, manipulative attacker, a spiked drink, a convenient fire escape. And what's more important and often missing from true crime shows is how present Matsuzawa herself is in the episode. With heartbreaking new interviews, the Matsuzawa family paint a picture of someone I'd love to have met, ongoing and interested in the world outside her life in Yamagata, Japan. Watching them tending a grave they still clearly struggle to come to terms with is heartbreaking. Hearing her mother, Himiko Matsuzawa, explain she only let her daughter come to New Zealand because she swore New Zealand was a much nicer and safer place than other countries is brutal. There is not a time that I don't think of her. I think of her every day, Brother Junichi Matsuzawa says. She was my sister, but she was also my friend. This was a woman who was deeply loved, and 20 years later still deeply missed. It makes Matsuzawa so much more than a victim, a dead body dumped in a cupboard somewhere in back of Queen Street. She is a fully realized human being whose plans, hopes, and dreams were stolen from her. The bubbly 29-year-old was planning to return to Japan when she was murdered, but she just wanted one last adventure, a few days exploring Auckland. After checking into a backpackers on Queen Street, she set out to see the sights. Hours later, she would be dead, Her naked body dumped in stairwell cupboard minutes from the backpackers, left undiscovered for 11 days. It's fascinating to see the conviction in the detectives' eyes when they talk about this case. They are certain they'll find the killer. After so long, how can they possibly expect to find new evidence? ESR scientist Ryan Morgan-Smith explains the difficulty with techniques at the time was a lack of sensitivity. In those days, you'd need a blood stain about the size of a 5-cent piece. Nowadays, you don't even need to be able to see the blood. Using a YSTR test, which only looks for male Y chromosome cells to differentiate them immediately from Matsuzawa's, they have discovered DNA that is not hers. Added to a tip from another district suggesting the team take a closer look at an unnamed male with a similar MO, known to have been in the area on the day Matsuzawa was killed, it's the closest the team have come to a viable suspect in almost 20 years. The news is a relief to her family, who have never been able to lay the memory of their beloved daughter and sister to rest. I have a granddaughter called Aiko, said Himiko near the end of the episode, but sometimes I call her Kayo, because she looks so much like her, and Kayo is always up here in my head. Anyone with information about the case is urged to contact the police or call Cold Case on 0800 2653 2273. Well, there you guys go. That's the sad unsolved case of Kayo Matsuzawa, who just came to New Zealand for a bit of a holiday and met her grisly death. If there's a cold case or a story you'd like me to investigate into, please don't forget to leave me a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I make new videos now every Thursday and Sunday. Love you, my users.